Hello and welcome to Wandering with Justin.
And Jane.
In this week's video, we'd like to showcase some of the beautiful scenes that we've seen in the New England area over the years. Come and explore with us the beauty of spring, the amazing blooming of summer, the incredible changes in autumn, and the wonderful frosty winters. New England is a beautiful place. Let's start with spring. Spring is a wonderful time in the New England. You see so many changes. Jane, what's your favourite thing about spring?
Just everything coming to life again.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to see the plants and the flowers coming out in bloom, getting their leaves back on. Everything just wakes up.
And the weather warms up, which is great.
It's a real definite change in the air from all the sub-zero temperatures to have some lovely days where we get over 10 degrees.
You know, it's springtime when you drive around and see all the trees and flower. They're so beautiful, all the different colours.
And it changes so quickly. You go from one week, everything is just a bunch of dead sticks, and then the next week there's flowers everywhere.
And then the leaves come so quickly, except for our tree. It's a bit slow, but everybody else's is just full leaf coverage. It's unreal.
Our tree will do all right, don't you worry. But what about the animals, Jane?
Oh, I love the baby calves and the little lambs, especially when they're jumping around and running in the paddocks. They look so cute.
And it's so easy to see them. You can drive up any country road and there's so much to see in amongst all of the rustic scenery. And as spring progresses, we start to get some stormy season come back, and that can really fill up some of the waterfalls and give you some amazing scenes. There's a great drive called the Waterfall Way that's well worth a look. We have a video on that if you'd like to check it out on our channel.
One of our favourite places to go in springtime, we've been there a couple of times. All the wildflowers and the wattles, they are magnificent. All the bright yellows.
It's a beautiful place with so many varied aspects of scenery, some amazing rocks, but the wildflowers are truly magnificent in spring. It's really well worth a visit, and a great camping destination too. And springtime is a great time to camp in the New England. If you don't like the cold weather, then spring is warmed up enough that you can still enjoy being outdoors without freezing to death. But of course the only bad weather is whether you didn't bring enough jackets to handle.
Summer is when all the wildflowers come alive along the road. There are so many different kinds.
It's a great time to go out and do some road trips. That way you can still enjoy the countryside but appreciate that beautiful air conditioning in the car that keeps the temperatures from getting way too high. Those of you who don't live at altitude might not appreciate it, but over 25 degrees is a really hot day for us.
I'm afraid bushwalking in summer isn't my favourite time. There are plenty of snakes and leeches, which aren't on my list of favourite things, I'm afraid.
But still, it's nice and beautiful in the rainforest, and even if you do get a few leeches, I think it's still well worth a day out to explore the area. And one of the spectacular things that you often see in this region as you drive around will be spectacular displays of daisies. Sometimes the paddocks are absolutely white. You would swear there had been a heavy snowfall, but it's just those daisies. It's an incredible sight, and I'd encourage you to get out and explore some of these areas to see them.
We are lucky that we have a lot of lagoons along the highway, and they were always full of different varieties of birds.
There's plenty of wildlife to see, great opportunities for bird watching, not to mention the amazing wildflowers to look at. But if the heat's too oppressive and all of the bitey things out in the wilderness aren't exactly your cup of tea, there's actually a lot of other things to see. The New England area is really rich in history. There's a lot of historical areas to visit. This old church at Gostwick is an amazing place that you can have a day trip out of Armidale. Glen Innes is another beautiful town that has some amazing scenery, but also an incredible history, rich architecture, old buildings, and a fantastic museum that you can spend time in. All of these towns have got so many places and areas that you can spend time in without even going into the bush if that's really not your thing. Then at the end of summer, as the heat starts to fade a little bit, we get the changing of the season. What's your favourite thing about autumn in the New England, Jane?
It would have to be the changing colours of the trees. They look absolutely beautiful.
It's amazing to see so many bursts of colour. As you travel around the district, you have the regular old gum trees all around you, and then you come across these little patches of vibrant, brilliant colour which just absolutely lights up the landscape. With so much colour in the area, it's an absolutely perfect time to take some drives around the back roads and explore, because you just don't know where you're going to find these amazing things. Occasionally you'll come across these old historic farms which have their whole driveway lined with these amazing deciduous trees that are a brilliant burst of colour. And let's not forget about Gostwycke Chapel, another beautiful spot to see the autumn foliage. It's really enjoyable to live in an area that actually has 4 distinct and separate seasons. And some other parts I've lived in Australia, it really isn't the case. You get hot weather and cooler weather, even cold weather, but it doesn't really separate itself out in the way that the New England area does. You have 4 distinct separate seasons, and that was the whole point of making this video, is to showcase that, because each season feels substantially different and offers something different.
The great thing about autumn, with the weather cooling down, it's a great time to go out and do some more bushwalking. It's so much easier because it's a lot cooler and the snakes have all gone to sleep, so yeah, it's great.
Absolutely, and it's a perfect time to start getting some fitness back in and getting ready for some longer walks over the winter that's just in front of us. It's also a perfect time to spot some fungus and some mushrooms if you're interested in those sort of things.
Snow days are absolutely beautiful, it's just like a fairyland.
Absolutely. I think that you get to see so many magical sights in the New England, and winter can really bring some amazing and spectacular scenery.
We don't have big snow, but what we have is very nice. I like it.
It brings out the big kid in all of us. Don't worry about that. There's something special about seeing the snow falling on the ground.
We don't have very deep snow here, and there's not many places in Australia that does have snow, so it's very busy with all the tourists coming down trying to catch what they can and make snowmans along the road. It's just really great seeing them all enjoying themselves.
Absolutely, it's a spectacular thing. I think before we moved to this area, we'd only really seen snow once before in Tasmania. But often as not, and you'll get a lot more of these than you will snow days, there are some spectacular frosts in the New England region. You'll see some beautiful, beautiful ice forming on different things, and if you get out of bed early and go for a drive while the sun's just coming up, you'll see some of the most beautiful and spectacular scenery that there is to be found in the whole of New England.
When we lived at Ben Lomond, it was fun to go around at the horse troughs and that, breaking the ice, and the icicles hanging from the eaves or any leaking tap. It was beautiful to see.
Okay.
Seizing up something terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
What were we going to say?
I don't know, something about snowman, winters here or something.
Where do the snowmen keep all their money? In the snowbank. Where do the snowmen like to go dancing? In the snowball. What do the snowmen use when they need to change a light? A snow globe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.